Take a look at this picture. What do you see? Now some of you are probably thinking, well sir, it's the moon obviously. Fair enough, but let me ask that question again. What do you actually see? Pause the video for a moment and think about it, because the more you look at something, the stranger it becomes. At first, it's just the moon. Then you realize it's not the actual moon. The real moon is hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, moving through space somewhere. What you're actually looking at is an image of the moon. And how did this image come to be? Tiny particles of light left the sun, hit the moon, bounced off the surface of the moon, travelled across space, and whilst the Earth was rotating at just the right place and time, it entered a specific telescope and it was captured. So it's not just a picture of the moon. This is light, distance, gravity, motion, lenses, technology, patience, and curiosity, all wrapped up in one image. Some time ago, I received an email from a student in year 10. Attached to that email was this picture. The student had taken it using his telescope. Now, what made this even better was that we had just recently learned about mass and weight, and we had a discussion about why objects orbit in space. The student had remembered that part of the lesson. Then later on, when he was looking through his telescope, he connected that piece of learning to what he was seeing in the sky. That is the important part. He didn't just take a nice picture, he made a connection. He took something from the lesson and applied it to the real world. I showed that image to the head of science and members of the senior leadership team, and the response was the same. This is exactly what we need more of, because this is what most teachers come into education hoping to create. We didn't come here for completed worksheets. We didn't come here to just hear the correct answers. We didn't even come here for revision before exams. A majority of us came into teaching for moments where students look at the world around them and think, hang on, that links to something I learned. We came for the love of learning. So we created something new. It's called Mastery Points. Mastery Points are our way of recognizing students who take their learning beyond the classroom. The idea is simple. You explore something, you capture it, you connect it back to a subject, and then you submit it. It could be a piece of work, a sporting event, a recipe, a building, a news article, a museum visit, a book you're reading, a piece of music, a coding project, something you saw in nature, something you built, made, noticed, questioned, or investigated. The key question is, what does this link to in school? And an even better question is, how can you link it to a specific lesson, topic, keyword, skill, or concept? In your year group Google Classroom, you will see an assignment called Mastery Points. Inside the assignment is a Google form, and this form is simple. You add your name, your year group, your college, the subject you're submitting for, a short explanation of the link that you've made, and then uploading your evidence. Your evidence can be a photo, screenshot, document, or an image file. The file upload limit is 10 megabytes, so be careful that your file isn't too big. Each submission will be reviewed and given a level. There are 3 levels. Level 1 is the explore level. Every submission where you've submitted appropriate evidence of something you explored is a level 1. Level 2 is when you made a connection accurately to a subject. And level 3 is the mastery level where you've linked your evidence to a specific lesson, topic, keyword, concept, or skill. Let's use the student's picture as an example of these 3 levels. The level 1 explore. I took a picture of the moon using my telescope. This is a good start. It shows curiosity. It shows that something was explored outside of the classroom. Level 2, connect. I took a picture of the moon using my telescope. This links to science because we study space, gravity, light, and how telescopes help us observe distant objects. This is stronger. Now the image is not just a picture, it's been connected to a subject. Level 3, mastery. I took a picture of the moon using my telescope. This links to our physics lesson on mass, weight, and gravity. In the lesson, we discussed why objects orbit in space. The moon stays in orbit because the gravity of the Earth pulls it towards the Earth, whilst its own motion keeps it moving around the Earth rather than simply falling down. The telescope also links to light because it collects and focuses light from distant objects to make them clearer. This is the strongest level. It links the evidence to a subject, a specific lesson, it uses key vocabulary, and is a real subject-specific explanation. Every subject has its own way of making us see the world differently. Here are some examples of what you could submit. Let's say you're baking something, you can link this to science or food. So the possible links here will be fermentation, respiration, temperature. Let's say you're playing football, you can link this to PE with forces, movement, energy, fitness. Let's say you take a photograph of something, you can link this directly to art with composition, light, lenses, perspective. Let's say you visited a castle, you can link this to history with medieval power, defense, monarchy. Let's say you're reading a novel, you can link this directly to English and look at it through the lens of character, themes, and symbolism. Let's say it's something as simple as budgeting your pocket money over the weekend. You can link this directly to maths through percentages, ratios, averages. Let's say you see flooding in the news, you can link this to geography with rivers, climate, urban planning. Let's say you had a musical performance, you can obviously link this to music, but also maths because you've got rhythm, patterns, timing, structure. Let's say you noticed a building design, you can link this to DT, art, maths through material, structure, symmetry, scale. The best submissions will not just say this links to a subject, they go further. They'll say this links because, they'll say this reminds me of the lesson where. The best responses reveal a deeper layer of thinking. Just a quick message now to the teachers that are probably watching this as well. Every subject has moments where students begin to see the world through the lens of that discipline. An historian will see power, cause, consequences. A geographer will see place, process, environment. A mathematician will see pattern, structure, relationship. Mastery points gives us a way of capturing those moments. So when students say something interesting in class or tell you about something they've seen, read, made, watched, or practiced, you can prompt them to submit a mastery point in their own time. Each module, students with the highest number of mastery points will receive a certificate of mastery and a letter explaining the significance of their submissions. Why does the letter matter? Because in the future, when you apply for sixth form, college, university, apprenticeships, or jobs, it helps to show that you're not just someone who just turns up to lessons and does the work. Every student's meant to do that. It shows that you are someone who takes an interest in things, someone with a keen eye for noticing things, someone with a mind primed to make connections, someone who goes beyond the bare minimum. There will also be a subject leaderboard. Since every submission is linked to a subject, at the end of each module, the subject with the highest number of mastery points will win the Mastery Cup. I'll be real with you all. The real aim of mastery points isn't just to give out certificates, letters, or cups. The aim is to help you see that your subjects are not trapped within the perimeter of your classroom. They are infused in everything around us. On your walk to school, in the food you eat, the sport you play, the music you'll hear, the buildings you pass, the phone you use, the sky above you. You see the moon and think of gravity. You see a bridge and think of forces. You hear a speech and think of rhetoric. The highest level of mastery is when the world itself is your personal revision handbook because you're making so many connections. When your journey through the local community becomes a way of revisiting everything that you've learned in the classroom, that's the kind of independent learning that lasts. So when you have a moment of curiosity, don't ignore it. Ask yourself, what subject does this link to? What lesson does this remind me of? Which key word, topic, skill, or concept helps me explain this? Then capture it, connect it, submit it. There's a quote from Freeman Patterson that best sums up the goal of this initiative. Seeing in the finest and broadest sense means using your senses, your intellect, and your emotions. It means encountering your subject matter with your whole being.